Hello, everybody. Welcome to Horse Center. We're sorry we didn't have our standard intro video, but we are here tonight with Jockey Gavin Ashton. He is joining us live from Kentucky. So everybody, welcome. I am your host, Lucy Houle, along with Swiss Army Sean. How are you doing tonight, Gavin?
Very good, thank you. Very good, thank you. Thank you very much for having me on. Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us. We definitely appreciate that you took the time out of your schedule to speak with us tonight. So you're in Kentucky, correct?
Correct. Yes. Yep.
And how long have you been there now?
So I've been in Kentucky since I moved here from Colonial Downs. So about a couple of months, I think. And I've just moved up today. I was based close to the track at Churchill, and I've just moved up closer to Turfway, as this is where I'll be spending the winter.
So you spent the day moving, correct?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I got up.
Literally brand new.
Yeah, literally just moved into an Airbnb closer to the track, and yeah, just spent the day pretty much just packing everything up, and we managed to do it in just one trip with two cars. So yeah, we got that done, and it was all good, and we settled in nicely.
Well, great. Then yeah, I really appreciate that you took the time because you obviously had a super full day.
Oh, it's okay, no problem at all, no problem.
So you're a little bit new to the racing scene here in the United States. Could you tell us a little bit about how you started, where you came from, some of your beginnings, and how you got into the sport here?
Yeah. So obviously, I'm from England. I was born and raised in Manchester, which is like North England. And growing up, I knew I always wanted to do something with sport. Like I don't have any family or friends or anything that is involved in horse racing. So I'd never I seen horses in the field, and that was about it. That's as much as I knew about horses. I actually had a cousin that I used to like idolize, and I still do, to be fair. But he was an older cousin, and everything that he does, Connor, I wanted to do. So if Connor was playing football, I'd be playing football. If Connor started playing cricket, I played cricket, and it's kind of went on like that. And anything he did, I wanted to do. And he actually got involved when he was 18. I think I'm a couple of years younger than him, so I must have been 16. He got involved in betting on the horse races, like nothing major, literally just having fun, just watching them at like Cheltenham and stuff like that. And my parents, the only memory that I've got of us with horse racing pretty much was the Grand National. Once a year, every Saturday, my dad had given me £2 to have a bet on a horse, and that was it. Like, that is honestly, as far as growing up I had anything to do with horse racing. And like I say, I played every single sport as a kid you can imagine: golf, cricket, badminton, tennis, football, everything. And obviously my mum and dad installed like a very good work ethic into me as a kid. So I had a job pot washing when I was 15. I was also a lifeguard and personal trainer and a few other things. So it was when I was working in the kitchen that I managed to work my way up, and I really enjoyed it because I wasn't the most academic at school, but I enjoyed like working hard outside of school, like doing more practical things. So it was as I was working my way up in the kitchen, I became a chef, and pretty much just learned everything off all the other chefs that I worked with. I never went to school or college or anything to do that. And with my cousin having an interest in the horse racing, I started just watching it on a Saturday. And when I was around 19, working in the kitchen from Friday to Sunday and evenings during the week, I was playing football at Manchester City's academy, which I'm a huge United fan, so for me it was a bit of a pill to swallow going there, but I enjoyed it. And as I was pouring myself a drink on the bar one shift, a guy said to me, "Oh, Gavin, you're the right size to be a jockey." And I said, "Well, honestly, I can't be a jockey. Like, I don't own a horse. I have no idea how to get into it or anything like that. And they said, no, speak to Emma, her name was, who owned an ex-racehorse. So I said, oh, the gentleman on the bars asked me to come over and speak to you about horses. And she said, yeah, you'd be perfect for it. You're the right size to be a jockey. She said, you simply go down to the racing school in Newmarket. You spend 14 weeks doing a course there. You go to a trainer, you get your license, and then you race. Now, theoretically, it shouldn't be that simple, but that's the idea that I got in my head, how simple it was. And I literally went home and told my mum and dad, I'm going to be a jockey. And they just kind of laughed. Like, obviously, they're the most supportive parents in the world. But when I come home and said this out of nowhere, it was just like, what's going on? And anyway, I did all the work. I applied to go down to Newmarket. I drove down there. It's 3 hours from Manchester to Newmarket. I drove down. I had an interview on the day, and you had to do a fitness test. Now, obviously, from all the sports that I've been playing, I was extremely fit. And being a personal trainer, my fitness shone more than anything. And the instructors down there kind of said, like, oh, you're probably not going to carry on because you're quite old. Because I came into it when I was 20. And they said, you just go and get a bit of experience, go to the yard for a week and see if you like it. So I did. I went and got work experience for a week at a yard in Garstang, which is close to my house. And I didn't even touch a horse or anything, but they wrote me a good reference. And a couple of months later, once my college course had finished at Manchester City, my football career wasn't really going anywhere. So I decided to go down to Newmarket, and I did a 14-week course down there. And after that had finished, I went to Sir Mark Prescott's, and who's absolutely incredible. Like, Sir Mark is he's the longest serving trainer in England. He's been training for 50 years. He most recently won the Arc de Triomphe with Alpinista. And he's incredible. He's absolutely incredible to learn from, and the people that I had around me there. So I needed to learn a lot more once I'd finished at the British Racing School, who were absolutely incredible with me. They were fantastic, teaching somebody that had never sat on a horse before how to ride. I remember showing up on my first day and they put me on a horse and asked me to trot. I was bouncing around everywhere. I didn't have a clue. I almost fell off just trotting. Did not have a clue what to do. And I just remember thinking, like, where's my seatbelt? Like, I needed something just to strap me in. And honestly, they did an incredible job of teaching me. Like, it's an incredible establishment that they've got there for young people coming into the sport. And yeah, like I say, I did 14 weeks down there, went to St Mark's, and within a year and a half, I got my license, and within 2 weeks, Sir Mark put me on my first ever horse that managed to finish second. So, yeah, it's been an absolute whirlwind, to be honest. And I've had a lot of experience in between then and now. It's been a long journey, but it's been incredible, and a decision that I definitely don't regret. That's for sure.
That's amazing. I feel like we're listening to like a movie line or something, because it's all the stuff that we don't, we hear about, but we don't get to live, like the Grand National and going to the yard and Newmarket and all the things you say. I feel like
that's kind of what it's like. I feel as though my life is just like a movie, and like I say, there's plenty of ups and downs along that journey. Don't get me wrong; like, it's not all been smooth sailing. But it's been one hell of a journey, and long way to continue, because I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, that's really impressive. Is that pretty common back home? That do a lot of the riders learn through a riding school like that? That's pretty much the norm?
Yeah, that's right. So there is actually two. So I didn't even know until after I'd finished at the British Racing School, but there is two racing colleges in England, and there's the Northern Racing College and the British Racing School. It probably would have been a lot easier for me to go to the Northern Racing School, but like I say, I had absolutely no. That shows how little I knew about horse racing. That I didn't even know any of that. And if you are coming into the industry, then like riding wise, it is required that you attend the British Racing School. Now they have three or four courses that they run for different levels of ability riding wise. So they do a 4-week course for people that have, for example, been in the pony racing scene. So people that have been pony racing, they just have to have you into the British Racing School to teach you and prepare you for work life in the yard. You know, they have you mucking out and doing all the basics. So it's not just riding, it's everything, you know, getting to know how the yards are run. Then they have a 9-week course for those people that have probably ridden horses before but not ridden race horses. And then, like I said, there was a 14-week course for people like me that have never ever sat on a horse before. And honestly, the British Racing School and the Northern Racing College, they do an incredible job. And like I said, they actually do courses for like yardmen as well, not just for riders. So yardmen and people like that, to teach you other things about the industry, and there's plenty of opportunities there. So it's fantastic setup, really. It is.
So you said your course that you took was 14 weeks?
Yes.
And
yes.
in the 14 weeks, did you feel like they had you prepared to ride a race?
Definitely not to ride a race. No.
Oh. That is really important.
No, I was still. I still needed to improve a lot. The 14 weeks was just pretty much just to get me set up to go and work in a racing yard. Okay. It was then, once I'd done a year and a half at St Mark Prescott's, because they don't have you like riding work or like breezing horses or anything like that. You pretty much just learn how to stay on a horse, so you are safe to go out like into the working environment and be trusted on people's owners' horses and St Mark's horses and stuff like that. And to be honest, because I knew I'd only ridden horses for 14 weeks, that I had absolutely no experience, and I needed to improve a lot more. I was really at the bottom. The best place to go was St Mark's, because he really does teach you so well. And the people that he's got there as well, he had younger riders that were apprentices that could teach me, and then he also had the old boys that, like, for example, Colin Nutter, he's been with St Mark for 50 years, I think, as his head lad. So you can imagine what the horses were like back then that he was riding. He really teaches you, and they look after you. So it was after a year and a half then that St Mark sent me back to the racing school. To get your license in England, you have to do a 2-week license course, where then they assess you on everything. A massive thing being fitness. You have to be, they really, really test your fitness. And obviously make sure you're safe, have you going through the stalls, through the gate, and riding, doing breezes where they assess you and make sure you can ride to instructions and that you are safe. And then at the end of that, if you are successful, they award you your license.
Excellent. Okay.
At what point were you comfortable with knowing that you didn't have a seatbelt?
Probably about 13 weeks. no, about 5 weeks into the course. Like, once we started galloping, once I started finding my balance, like, that was a big thing for me. I needed to improve my balance a lot, and like I say, I was naturally fit, and the fitness was okay, but yeah, the balance on them, it was, I could really feel it. Like, there was a week, I can't remember what week it was, but I just felt as though I was one with the horse eventually. Like, I just felt so disconnected at first.
Right.
That the horse was doing one thing and I was doing a complete other. But then I like kind of tuned in, and which I'm sure everybody that when they first start riding horses, they can relate to. But yeah, I've had a real crash course into it.
Yeah, so you went from a chef to a jockey.
That's right. Yep.
That's pretty cool. And you said in your chef work, you started as a dishwasher, right?
Correct. Yeah, I started from the bottom.
So
yeah.
And that, saying your parents had a good work ethic instilled in you is definitely true. You definitely had, kind of created your career for yourself. So that's something to be really proud of.
I'm very lucky for the parents that I've got. I'm incredibly lucky. I've always seen them working hard. They've never missed a day of work in their life, and that's the same with when I went into the kitchen and started being a chef. Like, as a chef, because you're a part of a team and it's a service and you've got to get the food out. If you don't show up for work, the whole team struggles. And like, so I've always been told, if you only get a day off if something's hanging off or you're dead. So that's kind of the way that I look at it. And I've never missed a day of my life racing either. So yeah, that's kind of, I've been lucky.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's something definitely to be proud of. So flash forward after you graduated from jockey school and you had your time, spent getting prepared to ride your first race, and then the first race comes. How did that go? Do you have good memories of that first race?
So I remember the morning. I remember the build up to it. I couldn't quite believe it because in England we do things called apprentice races, which I think are absolutely fantastic. So and they have different levels of apprentice races. So they do races, an apprentice race for jockeys that have ridden 0 to 10 winners, or jockeys that have ridden 0 to 25 winners, or 0 to 50 winners. So it gives you a fantastic opportunity to get started with a group of jockeys that you kind of belong in, they're not throwing you in at the deep end. And if you have a boss that cares about you like Sir Mark, he's not just going to throw you in a professional race and just throw you in at the deep end. You'd look out a place riding next to the big boys. And I saw on the entries, because they make their entries like a week before, and they don't name a jockey on until declarations come out, which is about 48 hours before the race. And I saw this horse had been entered in an apprentice race, and nobody had mentioned anything to me. And it was 2 weeks after I got my license. I was expecting at least 6 months, like with Sir Mark. I did not think he thought I was ready. And I remember I actually rode the horse in the morning. I galloped him, and then I was getting ready to swim the horse, and I was standing there holding him, and Sir Mark just walked by with one of his owners and said, "Oh, yeah, this is Gavin Ashton, and this is alternate route. He'll be riding this horse next week." And I was like, "What?" I was like, and then Will, the assistant trainer, kind of smirked at me, because obviously he knew all along, and I was just in shock. And I don't think I slept for about a week just planning it. I'd done my homework on all the horses. I'd studied everything, and it was amazing. And Sir Mark being so studious, he sent the other apprentice at the yard, who she'd ridden about 60 winners, Rosie Jessup, who was training to be head lass. She went in the car journey with me. She drove me there. Took me into the jocks room, introduced me to everyone. So like, I had people to like look after me and that. And I walked the track with her. And then I remember all that. And then I remember putting my silks on. And then I remember getting legged up on the horse in the parade ring. And then all I remember is coming back in. It like went so fast. Like your first race, it just goes like so quick. You have no idea like how little time you've got to think and do anything. And yeah, I remember the horse finished second. He ran really well. I was just beaten by a well handicapped horse, and it was a proud moment. I was absolutely delighted. I was so chuffed with that. Obviously I was annoyed because I hate losing. I do not like losing at all. So that when I finished second, it really upset me, but it was a fantastic experience. And it was probably three months later, I got my next ride off Sir Mark, and that ended up winning. So in my first 5 rides, I think I rode 3. Well, I rode 3 winners and 1 second. So it was off to a good start.
Excellent. We have a question about that from Grandma Horse Racing. She says, with all the training, did he have any butterflies in his first race?
Oh, massively. Yeah, for sure. Like, anybody that says they don't, they're lying to you. And kind of use them. Like everybody said to me, you will be nervous. Just use them in a good way. Like it was a big combination of excitement and nerves. You know, you've got to have them nerves, but there was also massive excitement there as well. To be honest, but yeah, there was definitely nerves there. There was.
What did you think, like going in and just, becoming a race rider? What was the hardest thing for you to pick up? Like some people really struggle with, like riding in the stretch or the traffic or coming out of the gate. Was there anything that was, extra tough for you to learn?
To begin with, it was my stick. I had a quite strange action of how to hit the horse. I kind of hit it a different way, but luckily enough, we had in England every apprentice jockey has a jockey coach who you can see them as many times as a week as you like. If you're in Newmarket, you have them based there at the racing school. So where I was based down in Newmarket, I could go up every single night after evening stables from 6 till 7 and go and work on a simulator, a mechanical horse with your jockey coach. And that's fantastic. It's a brilliant service that they do over there. And I had 2 jockey coaches, John Bramhill and Tebby, that were absolutely fantastic with me. They had a lot of patience because I didn't pick it up quite naturally because I'd obviously not been doing it quite too long. But they spent a lot of time working with me and they just drilled that muscle memory into me. And yeah, they really, really helped me a lot during the early stages of my career. And I still speak to them now and get advice off them now. So I'm very grateful for their help.
That is significantly different than the way we do things here. So you guys have a lot of support, I guess, going into the industry.
Correct.
Yeah, that's impressive. That's very nice.
It is, and I think it's jockeys really benefit from it over there. And like I say, you only get out of it what you put in. So you could see your jockey coach probably once a month if that's all you wanted to, but the service is there that if you want to go every day, they're there for you. So no, they're brilliant.
Do they assign? Is that assigned to you? Like those people are just assigned to you directly from the racetrack, or do you pick them, or how does that work?
Yeah, you kind of approach them, the jockey coaches themselves. Okay. Like during your time on the apprentice course that you have to do, the 2-week license course, you are told about all the jockey coaches. Some are obviously in different areas, so there's, I don't know, about 5 in the north, 5 in the west. There's quite a lot down in Newmarket, and you're told about them. And I know there was a jockey at St Mark's, the other apprentice, Manuel Fernandez, he was using Tebby, so he took me along and he said, Gavin, come along with me, and that's how the links kind of starts.
Great.
They take you under the wing.
Very good. We have a comment from Bob. He says, thanks for the win yesterday on Tropic Storm.
You're welcome. I was very grateful for that winner. That was all the horsey. You impressed me a lot yesterday, so it's all thanks to him.
Well, that was my next question: is what goes into the decision to come over here to the States, and when did that all happen? And then the tracks you've been at so far.
So I've always loved America. I was very lucky that my parents, we always had a 2-week holiday during the summer, and we visited Florida. I think we came about 3 or 4 times, just on like nothing to do with horses, like literally just went to Disney World and I fell in love with the country. So it was always from a young age I liked America, and then I actually knew nothing about horse racing over here, to be honest. And then once I come into the industry, everybody told me about America, people that had been here, and they said how good it was, and the prize money. They said how good the prize money is over here, sorry. And they said about that, and I said, well, why don't more people go over? And they said, well, because of the weight and obviously family commitments and everything like that. And I've always been more focused on my career rather than relationships or anything like that when I was in Newmarket, so I was quite free, and it was quite hard to get many rides in England because it was quite cliquey. I feel as though I don't think I was good enough at the time when I was in England to be riding regularly there, so I hold my hands up there. I'm quite honest about that. But it definitely helps when you've got a name behind you to get that extra support. The people that I work for like Sir Mark and Roger Varian, they supported me so much and they were brilliant. But to get going, you need that outside support from different trainers, and that wasn't really coming. So I actually ended up doing 2 seasons in Germany. I had a friend out there that asked me to come over and ride the horse, and I said to my jockey coach, I said, German racing, like, why would I go out there? And he said, Gavin, go and do it. If it's a Sunday, it was racing on a Sunday. He said, you're not going to be racing over here. He said, go out there and just see what you make of it. And I went out there, and I ended up achieving great success out there in Germany. I ended up riding in group races, and I was riding 10 races on a Sunday. I was going to all the different tracks. I was flying in and out, and riding that many horses a day really makes you improve. You improve so much by riding. And I wasn't doing that in England. I was maybe having 1 or 2 rides a week, and I was taking kind of 1 step forward and 2 steps back. So once I was going out to Germany and getting that experience, and I'm sure everyone agreed with me in Germany that sadly the racing, the quality of the horses that they have over there isn't as high a standard. So you really have to, it really teaches you how to ride bad horses. You know, you really have to get hold of slow horses, and you really learn how to get in behind them and push them. And so I'm incredibly grateful for my time over there. And I think I ended up having 40 winners in the two summers that I was over there. I only spent 2 months over there this year, and I ended up being 3rd in the Munich Jockey Championship, which I had 4 winners on one day. So I was incredibly grateful for my time over there. But I'd previously done 2 winters here in the USA. I'd worked for Graham Motion down at Palm Meadows and Joe Sharp down at Fairgrounds, and it was when I kind of got a feel for the racing over here. I absolutely loved it, and I fell in love with it. And with my weight being what it is, I met a very good agent who's my agent now, Liz Morris. I met her, and we come up with a plan that the time was right for me to come over at the start of the Colonial Downs meet. And I came over on the 4th of July, and not looked back since. I've loved every minute of it being over here.
We'll talk about that. Your first ride came earlier this year in January at the fairgrounds. So were your nerves kind of the same? Did it take you back to like ride 1, or was it a little different nerves?
It was kind of different, to be honest. I was kind of more excited. Definitely more excited. There was a little bit of nerves because I just wanted to impress people, you know. I just wanted to do well. But there was definitely a lot more excitement. I'd say it's easier to ride over here, but I mean, I don't know. There's just a lot more factors to consider when riding in England. Like, obviously, longer distances, undulating courses on the turf, and stuff like this. Different start points. Obviously, it's quite one-dimensional over here. That it's more simpler. So I wasn't too worried about anything in that aspect. But it was I was very grateful for Joe giving me the chance to I actually rode Ice Time, a horse called Ice Time, he finished 2nd for me on my first ride over here, which was fantastic. I was so pleased and so happy. So yeah, it was a great start, and like I say, I was only just getting a feel for things over here and racing. So Joe had he had no obligation to actually put me on that. He just did it as a reward type of thing, and I was incredibly grateful. So yeah, I owe him big thanks for that.
And then your first win came in July at Colonial. Talk about that.
So now that was like riding my first winner all over again in England. So Mark always said to me, "You'll never ever forget that first winner." And he says, "Make sure you enjoy it," and he was so right. And that was exactly the same for when I rode the winner at Colonial. We went into the Colonial meet. So I rode for Michelle Lovell down at the fairgrounds a couple of times, and she was incredible for me down there. She always offered me advice. She let me come in and breeze horses to gain experience breezing over here. And Michelle's been absolutely fantastic to me. She's supported me so much, and I was incredibly grateful for everything she did for me. And she normally goes to Colonial for the summer. And she was meant to be going there, and Liz said, we'll try and get you on a winner for Michelle to like showcase your talent, and then other people will notice, because it's difficult kind of just coming to a place. And I remember when I did come over, I was going around the barns and everyone was like, "Oh, have you ridden over here much before? You've never ridden a winner here," and stuff like that. So that's why we knew with Michelle's support we could get on something. Sadly, 2 weeks before the meet, her help wouldn't come to Colonial, so she couldn't go to Colonial. And I remember my agent, Liz, ringing me saying, "Gavin, look, we're in a bit of a predicament here. If we go to Colonial, we're going to have to work hard." And obviously me and Liz, we've both got exactly the same work ethic, that we work incredibly hard. And I think that's why we work well together. That I turned up at Colonial on, I think it was the 5th of July after Thanksgiving, and I was in every single barn. I was just introducing myself to everybody, walking around the track. I was offering to jog horses for anyone. I just wanted to get on the track and get riding. And people said to me, the likes of Jason McCutcheon and Karen Godsey, they said, "Look, with your work ethic here, you'll go a long way." And it was actually Karen Godsey that gave me my first ride. Michelle Lovell had told Karen about me, and Karen said, "Yeah, I'll give him a chance," and put me on a horse, and it ran okay. And then she put me on one the next week, and it was a first time starter, and I think it went off at about 50-1, and it ended up winning for me. And honestly, that just meant the absolute world to me. To win for Karen as well, for giving me that start, it meant so much. So that was incredible. It really was. It was a feeling I won't forget. That's for sure.
And then you just got 2 wins at Churchill Downs, which had to be a whole nother feeling.
Correct. Yes, that was so special in itself. Coming here, I knew coming from Colonial that it was going to be very, very tough coming here. Obviously, you've got the best jockeys in the country riding here. You've got the best horses, the best trainers. It's just the highest levels. So, my expectations were very realistic coming to the meet here, and I've achieved a lot more than what I expected, and that is purely down to the hard work of Liz, and just the support of the trainers that I've had. It means a lot. I mean, I'm gutted I've not managed to get the full Churchill experience, obviously, with being in the temporary paddock and in the temporary jocks room and all that. But it was still incredible to finish this meet with 18 rides, 3 winners, 3 seconds, and 2 thirds was incredible.
We have a viewer asking, coming from England, Gavin, to the U.S., does the change of racetrack affect your performance?
Change of race direction.
Yeah.
No, because so everybody thinks that we just go one way in England. We do have tracks that go clockwise as well. We race both directions. So it's and the same in Germany. There's plenty of tracks that we go clockwise and anti-clockwise. I mean, everybody makes a big deal about that, but honestly, the direction of the horse doesn't matter to me. The direction of the track doesn't matter to me. As long as the horse handles it well and changes leads correctly, then it's fine for me. And it's the same with preference to dirt and the turf. Everybody, everybody kind of categorizes European riders on the turf, blah, blah, blah. And I really enjoy riding on the dirt. And I think I know you've got to ride a different race on the turf, as in tactics wise, and you do ride different. But for me, as long as the horse is comfortable on the surface, it doesn't really matter to me what I'm racing on.
Yeah, that would definitely be interesting if you took a horse that's used to running one way and just decided to run the other way. A horse ain't gonna like that too much.
Yeah, I've always wondered that, and I'm surprised that, like you said, it makes no difference to you, because I feel like I would feel so weird if I went out on a racetrack to go the other direction. I would just be like,
so
I don't know.
Honestly, there's some tracks, like for example, Epsom's obviously very famous, where you go uphill and then you camber down left, and there's tracks in Germany like Bad Hasburg, like an oval, but it's on the bends, it like goes uphill and then it comes down and you circle back round, and it's so different. And when you come back after a race in England, you've got so much to consider, like what trip does it want, what track does it want, and everything like that. Over here, it makes things a lot simpler for you over here, which is great.
Yeah, our tracks are pretty. We just turn left.
It makes it easier for us, that's for sure.
Right. Betty Jo has a comment here. Congratulations, Gavin, on a great start, and all the best in 2024.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
We have a couple of good comments coming in for you.
Here's one for Harrison Young too. Gavin is a great young man, and it was a privilege having you this summer. What is your favorite distance to ride?
Oh, that's a tough one. I appreciate that, Harrison. Thank you very much. Harrison was incredible there at Colonial. Great guy and fantastic at his job. Absolutely fantastic. That turf course is incredible. It's difficult really, because I actually rode in a 2-mile flat race while I was there. Kerry Brion put me up on one, and I did have to carry, because it was a national hunt flat race. I did have to carry, I think it was about 145 pounds.
Oh my God.
Later in the card, I had, I think it was like 119. So obviously I'm very naturally light. I weigh probably about 114, 115 most mornings. So yeah, when I was riding in the national hunt flat race, and I had to carry all that, I was wearing my riding out boots in the morning. I got this really heavy saddle. I did everything I could, and I remember getting on the scales, and they said, "Oh, Gavin, you still need 15 pounds of lead." So I was like, "Oh, geez." But I finished second in that race, and I absolutely loved it, going twice round. Obviously, in Germany, I think the furthest distance that I rode was 4 miles. 3.5 miles, I think it was.
Oh, wow.
In a listed race. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the speed of the 5 furlong horses and the 6 furlong horses, but I like the tactics and the patience of the longer distance races. So it's a tough one to answer, but I'd actually have to say the longer distance. I do like a longer distance race.
And we've been told millions of times on the show, that's the biggest difference from international racing to American racing, is here it's all speed.
Correct. Yeah, it really is. You really don't appreciate it until you're riding the race, how fast you guys go over here. Honestly, the first thing we do, like in Germany or in England, apart from the sprints, like you break out the stalls, you'd get a position, and then you'd sit and wait. You'd fill your horse up. I remember I used to win quite a few races in Germany, just going to the front and absolutely putting the handbrake on and crawling round there and then sprinting for home. You try and do that over here, no chance. Absolutely no chance. If you put the brakes on over here, you're last. So you've got to kind of do it discreetly and judge the pace right and know what you sat on. But yeah, it's so true. You really don't appreciate the pace that you go over here until you've ridden it. It's different class. It is.
Well, it's interesting as a viewer too, because I have a hard time when I'm watching international. Okay, all these horses look like they still have a shot. Over here, when you get to the stretch, you can say, okay, these 3 or 4 are gonna, one of these 3 or 4 are gonna win it. Internationally, it's like everybody still has a chance.
Correct, exactly. And to be fair, I remember speaking to Andros Stark, who is he's Mr. Germany. Like he's been multiple champion jockey in Germany. He's won everything there is to win. He's won in group races in Japan. He's obviously ridden group races over here. He's incredible, and he actually made a good point to me that the reason why the breeding is so good over here is because the races are run at a true pace. Whereas if you look at the French racing, you more often than not find out who's the best horse if you go a good pace. If you go a good tempo throughout, you find out the best horse in the race. If you look at the French racing and you go so steady so soon and then you sprint for home, like you say, there's so many times that it's been a close finish that have you really found out who's the best horse in that race? Like there's a lot of hard luck stories and stuff like that. So I think breeding wise and race wise, going a good solid pace, you find out who the best horse in the race is. And that's one thing I learned off him, and I have to agree with him.
Awesome. We have another question here coming in from Harrison Young. Going back to your chef days, what is your favorite meal to cook?
So I used to be, so I did quite a while on the grill. I worked on the grill for about a year at a smokehouse, and I'd say anything like that. Steak's good, but I do like to do a chicken Ballantine. That's nice. And I recently got a smoker, and I've been playing around with that a lot. And I did brisket burnt ends the other day, and that was spot on. A lot of people might say I love doing that, but a lot of people will probably say my Sunday roast. In England, every Sunday it's traditional to do like a Sunday roast, which involves like Yorkshire puddings, roast potatoes, meat, veg, and gravy. So I've done that quite a few times for people over here, and that seems to be quite popular. So I do enjoy doing a Sunday roast.
So cooking is something that you kind of you enjoy kind of as a hobby as well. It's something you like to do then in your free time also?
Correct. Yeah, I absolutely love my cooking. And like I say, I'm very lucky that I'm the weight that I am, that I do actually get to enjoy my food. They always used to say in the kitchen, you should never trust a skinny chef because obviously he doesn't try the food, so it mustn't be good. But yeah, cooking's a passion for me. I just enjoy it. It's like it's something I enjoy doing.
Well, I was going to say, is that an advantage? But you don't have a problem with your weight. But I was going to say, is that an advantage or disadvantage that you're a chef like that with your weight?
For me, it's definitely an advantage because I like eat good food. Like I do enjoy cooking nice meals, not just like rubbish. So it works in both ways. That it's obviously healthy for me and it's good. And yeah, like I say, my weight's spot on. I do plenty of training to keep myself fit, and luckily I stay light naturally, and I'm able to enjoy my food and not have too many worries. So it's great.
That's great. We have a question that came in two different ways here from Loloy Below Loy. Is asking. Originally asked if jockeys were good handicappers, and then said, let me rephrase my question. Do jockeys in the room handicap races? I think back when you were discussing how you were looking through the form, that's when that question came up.
So I love it over here. So obviously if you go to like if you look at the DRF form, that tells you absolutely everything you need to know. And obviously I don't go into a race without looking at the form. I study every single horse, try and see its weaknesses. But back in England, we don't really have that form written out in DRF. So I had to physically go back and watch each horse's replays. I mean, you could look at the notes of the race and see how it ran, to see if it was handed, to see if it made the run in, to see if it was behind. So you could look at that quickly, but I personally like to watch all the horses' replays. So it might say, oh, horse challenged and finished second. I like to watch the horse running and then maybe think, oh, well, it looks like that horse doesn't want to go past that horse, so it's ungenuine, and things like that. I try and pick up extra little bits of detail. So for me, I would say 99% of the jockeys, yes, they do the homework on the races and they do handicap them. But don't get me wrong, that definitely doesn't mean we're always right at all. I've learned that very quick, but I do try and pick up any little bits of details that I can about the horses that I'm running against and my own horses, for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think just about all riders, take their time to take a look at the form and, try to come up with some type of a plan there.
Yeah, definitely.
Is it? Well, that's a good question. When you're in the paddock, some trainers really like to give you suggestions or what you should do out there. Is that the same back in England and Germany, or do you have a little bit more free run back in England and Germany compared to here?
It would be exactly the same here. Some trainers like to give you instructions. And then certain horses, like, for example, like a certain trainer may say to you, with this horse, do what you want. Like, you've done your homework, go out there, do what you want, do what you feel's best. And personally, I enjoy that. Like, I enjoy riding with that freedom. However, you always have to listen to the trainer, because obviously they work with the horses every single day. They know every bit of detail about this horse, and if they're telling you to do something, it's because of what they've seen at home or how they know this horse. So it just depends on the trainer. Honestly, Sir Mark, with my first ever ride, it was incredible. He's very old school and he works off a newspaper. So when I went down into his office, it's very, very old school. He said, right, Mr. Ashton, here, open the newspaper up, and he had the map of the track called Lingfield. He had it drawn out. He said, now, this jockey's going to go to the front. He's had this many rides. He knows what he's doing. He'll set a good pace. You're going to challenge round here. Here, I want you to move up to this position. Here, you'll swing round the bend, quicken there, and go and win the race. And honestly, and everything he said would fall into place perfectly. He knew exactly what was going to happen, and he always obviously said, like, if something goes wrong, then ride it accordingly. But yeah, he was very much like that. He knew exactly how the race would unfold and expect you to ride it that way. Other trainers, like I say, just say, you go and ride, you know how to ride, go and do it. So it just depends on the trainer.
I've never met a bettor like that, but I'm still looking for a bettor to give me that kind of advice that can tell me exactly how the race goes.
Well, I'd like to know myself sometimes. Sometimes, honestly, you have no idea. You think it's going to go one way, and then it just goes completely wrong when you come out of the stalls. So,
right.
Yeah.
So when you're not working horses in the mornings or riding races, do you have anything else that you like to do in your free time?
I love to golf. I do enjoy golf. I also like fishing, and yeah, I think and cooking. That's pretty much my outside hobbies.
That's great.
Yeah.
Terry Hay has a comment. Gavin is such an interesting guest and a great interview.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Very nice. Thanks, Terry. We always appreciate the positive comments.
Yes.
Very good. So, what do you have going on this week? Are you looking forward to anything this week? Do you have any horses in particular that you're looking forward to riding?
Obviously, I'm just looking forward to getting up to Turfway. I've got one horse on the AE list on Wednesday, so we'll see if that gets in. But I'm riding one for my friend who I rode for in Colonial, Liam Burke. He's bringing one here on Thursday. So I look forward to that. I'm hoping it'll run well. And then I've got a few later on in the week that hopefully should be live. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting on the synthetic there at Turfway and seeing what we can do for sure.
You had said your friend Liam. Do you ever have you come since you've come to the United States? Do you have any people that you knew in England that are here now that you still keep in touch with?
So I kind of knew of Adam Beschitzer when I came over here. Like, we were never in England at the same time, but we had friends in Newmarket, obviously, who spoke about it. And then as soon as I met Adam here, we clicked really well.
Right.
So obviously I get on really well with him. And Jane Elliott, who's riding at Churchill and Turfway at the moment, we raced together in England. So there's them two, and then there was Tyler Hurd and Grace McEntee that have just headed back home. I raced against them in England, but apart from that, that's all really the jockeys that's over here that I've raced with, to be honest, back home. But I've met plenty. Obviously, all the jocks over here, they've been absolutely incredible to me. They've been great to me in the jocks room. They've given me great advice and looking out for me, and been very supportive as well. It's a real good environment in the jocks room over here. So I'm very grateful for that. And that really, it really makes you settled. So that's very welcoming.
Well, we've had Tyler and Grace on, but we haven't had Adam or Jane on. So anytime they want to come on, they're more well.
They'll get them on, yeah, for sure.
I asked that question because it seems like in the horse racing industry, you could go almost anywhere and you'll find someone you know. That is like one of the many positive things about it. You could show up at a racetrack somewhere else and you find someone that you know.
That's right. I remember I went to Australia for a month, and I went to a place called Ballarat, which is just north of Melbourne. Mm-hmm. And I showed up there knowing one person there. It ended up there was like 4 of my friends that were out there. I didn't even know they were at the track there that I knew from England, and we had a great time all for the short month that I was there. That's the beauty of horse racing, and obviously it lets you travel all over the world, and see everything. And I'm blessed to have seen all the places that I have, and the places I've visited, and people I've worked for, and people I've met is incredible. I'm incredibly grateful. That's for sure.
Definitely.
I was going to ask too. Now, Turfway on Wednesday, they have full fields, 12 horses in every race, and they have also eligibles, and horses get scratched. So as a jockey, that's good because you have opportunities, but then it's also bad because now it's a lot harder to get in the top 3 and win races. So what's the outlook on that?
That's right. I mean, I absolutely love it in the morning when when I've done all my form the night before and everything of all my, like, when I've got rides. There's no better feeling than seeing scratches in your race. The morning of the race, I absolutely love it. Because obviously it's just less to beat. If there's less to beat, then you've got more of a chance. Don't get me wrong. I think it's incredible that Turfway's got the full fields they've got. Obviously, it shows the competitiveness and the support for the sport and the industry. I think it's great for the industry that you've got competitive fields, and it's great for the sport. As a jockey, like you say, you've got more chances of picking up rides, but you've got more horses that you have to beat. So it kind of is a tricky predicament, really. But I'll take it.
Excellent. Well, we really appreciate you being on the show tonight. Sean, do you have any other questions for Gavin right now?
I guess I would just ask, obviously we'll have you back on. Wish you the best of success. My next question would be, where do you see yourself in a couple of years? Like, what other tracks would you want to try out? That kind of stuff.
That's really interesting. I never really thought about it because obviously my goal for the last couple of years has kind of just been to long term be based here, and be riding and just be like sort of sufficient over here. As to whereabouts over here, I never really specified. I never really thought about it. I would obviously love to visit California. I mean, the tracks out there look absolutely stunning, and they look amazing to ride. So, I mean, that'd definitely be a goal to pick up a ride out there. I don't know if I'd want to stay out there. Like, I'm very happy with the circuit that I've been riding at the minute. I can't wait to get back to Colonial. I absolutely loved my time there. The course was amazing. It's great for the horses, the people, everything. So that's definitely a place I'm looking forward to getting back to. But Keeneland and Churchill, I mean, you can't ask for better than that, really. If I could establish myself on this circuit and be riding regularly, I'd be a very happy man, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Great. Well, I mean, hopefully that happens. We have no doubt that you should be able to pull that off.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
So yeah, we really appreciate it. It was a great interview. I enjoyed it, and definitely it seems like we always learn something new and meet someone great every night that we do this. So thank you very much for being on.
No, I really appreciate the time, and thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
All right,
Thanks,
Gavin.
Gavin.
Best of luck to you in the future.
Thank you so much. You guys take care.
All right, take
You
care.
too.
Thanks.
Oh no, it made me the big one.
Are you switching or am I? There we go. You got
I
it.
got it. That was nice. He is super cool.
Yeah, he is. You know, I always wanted to get him on, but I don't think his mailbox was open or whatever on Twitter. And then I saw his interview on Churchill and with the story and stuff, and I just commented congrats and, you know, get you on the show. And right away he ran with it. So
you just
it was
worked
awesome.
your way in there.
Yeah, I had to.
Yeah, no, he's a super, super, super nice kid and very interesting story.
Yeah. Yeah, and all the, you know, all the ones that come over internationally, they are so nice and willing to learn and do what they got to do to become successful over here.
It is really funny how, like, in this industry, they told him at 20 years old, like, oh, you're kind of old, so you might not make it.
Yeah, I mean,
funny sports, though, you know, it's funny.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm 38 right now, and if you're 38 in the NBA or NFL, you got to retire. You got to get out of here. You're like
one foot in the grave.
Yeah. So it is funny. It's like age depends on what career you go. You know.
Yeah, that's nuts. But he's done a really good job. So hopefully, you know, he keeps moving forward and things keep going well.
Yeah, hopefully it works out for him. I see no reason why it couldn't. Unfortunately, with Tyler Hurd and Grace McEntee, we had them on, but they decided, you know, they weren't getting enough over here, and they went back. But hey, each has to make their own decision, and
Sure.
It's all about opportunity. Hopefully, you know, he gets
Right.
the opportunity to prove himself. You know how that works, and you know, Tyler will have the same thing in Kentucky. It's just a matter of opportunity.
No, definitely. Just, you know, it'll work out though. He'll do well.
And it's another sport of, you know, horse racing is very much like everything else. It doesn't matter what you did last year. It doesn't matter what you did 5 years ago. What did you do yesterday?
I know.
Which could be real brutal too.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a tough business to be in. So, but yeah, he'll continue doing well, I'm sure, and you know, things will come together. It seems like he definitely wants it enough. He's super passionate about it and loves the business. So,
yeah, and he's happy where he's at right now. So as those opportunities keep growing, it's, you know, should just do more and even enjoy it more. So hopefully everything keeps moving in the right direction. Tomorrow, Terry and Rich will be back with Parks Day number 2 on Tuesday. And then we'll be back tomorrow night with another young jockey, Luis Rivera Jr. He's the son of Luis Rivera, who's been in for a while. Luis Rivera Jr. has already got like 80-some wins. He's done very well. Just started this year. So we'll find out more tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. All right. We will be back tomorrow. And until then, I will see you
in the winner's circle.
In the winner's circle. All right. Good night, Sean. Thank you.
Good night.